know what I love? I love when people tell me that they're too busy, that they just have too much going on to care about their finances, that they don't have any time in the day to make sure that their financial life is in order.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You know what I say to those people? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Listen, we're all busy. We all have obligations. We have our jobs. We have kids. We have responsibilities. We have all these adult things that we have to take care of. One of those things is our financial life. It is no surprise that only 39% of Americans have $1,000 in savings to cover an emergency. Only 39% have $1,000. The rest of us are screwed. But here's the thing that you have to know. It doesn't take a lot of time to get your finances back on track. In fact, today I'm gonna share with you 4 15-minute fixes that you can get your finances in order today. So let's find out what these 4 15-minute fixes are right now. This probably doesn't come as a shock to know that many of us struggle with credit card debt. But even worse, one of the things that is most often overlooked is something simple, something that you can check in less than 15 minutes. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about your credit report and your credit score. You're probably wondering, what does it really matter about your credit report? Why do I need to be checking my credit report? Well, here's a stat for you. It's reported that 1 out of every 5 people have some sort of error on their credit report. And this error, it could just be a name, it could be a previous employer, it could be a medical bill that's not supposed to be in your name, and it could be severely impacting your credit score. So what does that matter? Well, if you don't know, here's when you're gonna find out. If you are trying to borrow some money, whether that is buying a car, buying a house, it could impact you getting an apartment, signing a lease. Your credit score can impact a lot of different things, and it is all directly related to your credit report, making sure that you don't have any errors on there. So if that's not enough to make you want to check your credit report, what about this one? Do you remember the whole Equifax thing that happened a few years ago? 143 people's personal information was released. There was a data breach, and where your credit could have been impacted, your identity. So somebody could have your social security number, they could have your address, they could have a lot of your personal information, and you wouldn't know that if you didn't check your credit report. Now, I shared this in a previous video where I was talking about how to raise your credit score by 100 points in a short amount of time. And in that video, I shared how I had this gym membership that was being marked as delinquent. Well, I didn't even live in the state where this gym was. I had moved from that state years ago, but it was still being marked as delinquent, which was having a direct impact on my credit score. And it was affecting it by about 50 to 100 points. I never would have known that had I not checked my credit report. So how do you check your credit report? Well, here's the best part. It's easy, it's free, and it will take you less than 15 minutes. You can go to annualcreditreport.com, request your report, and you'll find all the information on there. So you can see if you have any outstanding debts, if you have any outstanding bills, any credit line, any credit cards that need to be closed, or maybe they have been opened in your name that you didn't know. There's a ton of information on that credit report, so you want to take some time, look it over, and just see if there's anything on there that looks out of place. If so, that's when you need to contact the credit bureaus to get it back in shape, get it back in order, so that your credit report is good and your credit score is not being dinged. All right, the second financial fix that you can do in 15 minutes or less, pretty much goes without saying, is starting some sort of emergency fund. It's reported that only 39% of people have $1,000 in savings. We need to start saving. We need to do a better job of saving. Most people just think that saving is pointless or worthless. What do we need to save for? Why do we need to save? Well, let me tell you why. There's this thing called life that happens. That's right, it's life. You're gonna get a flat tire, your AC unit is gonna go out, you're gonna have some sort of medical bill that you have to take care of, whether it's for yourself, your spouse, or your children. Life is going to happen and you're going to need cash to pay for this said emergency. But I get it, times are tough, and some people, when they think and just try to comprehend the idea of being able to save $1,000, it is overwhelming. It just seems like it's not even possible. Now, one fun way that can get you to this $1,000 mark and then some is the 52-week money challenge. And if you've not heard of this yet, I don't know who created the idea. It was big on Pinterest. It's still big on Pinterest. But basically the concept is this. Over 52 weeks, so over the course of a year, you're saving a small amount each week. So in the first week, you save $1. The second week, you save $2. The third week, you save $3. By the 52nd week, you now are saving $52 for that week. Now, is this gimmicky? Yeah, a little bit. But for those that don't have that $1,000 saved up, by the end of the year, you're gonna have over $1,600 saved up by implementing this method. Now, here's the cool thing. Do you have to do $1 a week? Can you do more? You sure can, and a lot of people will do that. But the key though is just to stay consistent. Make sure that you're doing it each week and increasing that each week. And if you can put any more extra in there, that's fantastic. Okay, if you're not really sure where to put your money, yes, you can go to a brick and mortar bank, but you can also check out another video where I talk about 7 different banking alternatives that you can use to save your money, because most brick and mortar banks aren't paying you enough to even get excited about. So check out that video so you can see what other options that are gonna pay you much more interest. All right, the third option that you can fix your finances in 15 minutes or less is starting what's called the Roth IRA. Oh, how I love the Roth IRA. So why do I love the Roth IRA? Well, if you don't know, you can watch another video where I talk about how to become a Roth IRA millionaire. But one of the biggest reasons why I love the Roth IRA is because it's going to give you tax-free money at retirement. Oh, how can you not love tax-free money? And here's the other thing I love about the Roth IRA. Now, this is not one of those things I like to publicize, because I like when people kind of put money away and they forget about it. I don't want you to think that this is something you can just tap into when you need to, but if you want to, you can. That's right. So with the Roth IRA, any money that you put into it, so this is called your contributions, you have access to that money at any time, so long as whatever you invested into is still there. So if you bought like stock and you put money into it and the stock went bankrupt, you can't pull your money out. That's not how it works. But if you put your money into a stock and it's still the same value, you still have access to that money. What has to stay in there until retirement is your earnings and interest on that money. So for example, if you put $1,000 inside a Roth IRA and you buy a stock or a mutual fund or an ETF, and that investment has grown from $1,000 to $2,000, the $1,000 you have access to at any time, it's the $1,000 that you made on the interest or the gains on that investment that has to stay until retirement, which the IRS says is 59.5, which is, I know, a long time away. But the moral of the story though is the $1,000 you have access to and that $1,000 gain when you do pull it out at retirement is tax-free. That's right, that's why I love the Roth IRA. Now once again, if you haven't heard of the Roth IRA and its ultimate goodness, then check out that other video where I talk about how to become a Roth IRA millionaire. Now if you have heard of the Roth IRA and you want to get started, you're probably wondering, okay, I get it, I've heard it, I'm ready to start, where do I go? Now, just like a brick and mortar bank, you could choose a brick and mortar brokerage local to you. There are plenty of good options. Just make sure that you know who you're working with, making sure they're not gonna just rake you over the coals paying too much commissions. Make sure you stay away from these investment scams, which I talk about in another video, just 5 investment scams you wanna stay away from. So be careful of that. If you don't want to go the brick and mortar route and you're comfortable opening a Roth IRA online, there are plenty of options that you can look at. You can look at Ally Financial, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Vanguard, Fidelity. There are tons of them out there. With Ally Financial, E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, with these types of online brokerages that open up these Roth IRAs, you are going to have to choose the investment. So you are in charge of picking an individual stock, picking a mutual fund, picking an ETF. For some that are new, that are beginning investors, this is something they just don't want to handle. I get it, I understand. If you like that, then look at those options. If you're not comfortable, if you don't trust yourself, getting started in the market by yourself, having to choose your own investments, then some other options you can look at are Betterment and Wealthfront. So with these two, all you have to do is choose your investment goal or your retirement goal. How long is that money going to be invested for? And then Betterment or Wealthfront is going to choose the investment strategy. Now they're going to be using low-cost ETF ETFs, exchange traded funds, on your behalf. But the best part is that you don't have to think about it. You just put the money in and they choose the investments for you. Easy peasy. With some of the first companies I mentioned, like Ally Financial, TD Ameritrade, they may have a minimum account balance of $500 on up to $2,500 to get started. Now with Betterment, there is no minimum. You can put in as little as you want. If you want to go even smaller, another option you can look at is Acorns. So if you're interested in the micro investing route with Acorns, you sign up for the app, which is free, and they're going to take a look at all your different financial accounts and identify if you can allocate any small amounts to that account that invest for you. So in essence, it can take your spare change and invest for you. And the cool part too is that they launched an option that allows you to open a Roth IRA in their platform. So similar to Betterment and Wealthfront, they're going to choose the investments for you, but you can invest your spare change and start investing for your future. Now, anytime you can take spare change, instead of like leaving it stuck in your car or underneath your couch cushion, and invest that for the future, I'll take that any day of the week. All right, the fourth and final option to get your finances fixed in 15 minutes is simplify. I mean, it's just so much better when life is simpler. So how can you simplify your finances? Now, one of the things you can do is quite easily is unsubscribe from all the stupid emails that you get. Are you signed up to promotional emails that are trying to sell you something or show you what the new arrivals are? Maybe they have a special discount this week on who knows what. And that is so tempting to just click on that email, open up that link, go to that store and make that purchase. Don't. Stop. Unsubscribe. Unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. I unsubscribe to everything. And if you want to take it to the next level, when you do, say you go to a store, they want your email address, you can use a dummy email to not be tempted from all these promotional emails. Now, the ones that are under your main email address, you got to unsubscribe. Get them out of your inbox. I know for me personally, I have my Gmail account, which is my personal account. I also have a Yahoo account, which I use for all these promotional emails. So those go to my Yahoo. Sorry, Yahoo, but I like Gmail better. Another way you can simplify is closing old accounts. Now, going back to the credit report, when you get your credit report, you can see how many open lines of credit you have. And you might be shocked to see that there are credit cards that you took out that you don't use, but they're still open, or there are department store credit cards. That was a big one for me. I had all these different department store credit cards that I didn't realize I'd opened years ago, but they were still on my credit report. So I went down the list and I started closing them and closing them and closing them to where I only had the credit cards that I still use. Now, a common question that I get regarding closing these credit cards, closing these limits, can that ding your credit score? It can ding it temporarily, but it's only going to be a small ding. And reality is that not having these limits open, having these credit cards open, the long-term damage that is more dangerous than the short-term effect of closing these cards and having your credit score temporarily ding. So close those credit cards, get those limits out, get your finances simplified. And the last way that you can simplify your finances is signing up for one of the best free apps that exist out there. Is called Personal Capital. Now, I talked about Personal Capital in another Wealth Hack Wednesday video where I talked about tracking your net worth. So with Personal Capital, it is by far one of the coolest apps, especially for like a financial advisor geek like myself. So you have apps like Mint, which are great for budgeting and tracking all your spending, but actually tracking all of your different investment accounts, whether that be your 401k, your Roth IRA, your personal banking, your kids' college savings accounts, however many different accounts you have, you can sync them all up with Personal Capital to be able to track all your investments in one place. So you can see if everything is working together, if you have good synergies between all your different portfolios. And most people have no clue like how much they have in the markets, how much they have in overseas markets, how much they have in bonds. They don't have any clue what's the total return on their overall portfolio. And that's what an app like Personal Capital can do. And as I said, it's free. So why wouldn't you sign up? And I'll have a link in the description, the show notes, where you can check out that free app. Now, the one disclaimer with Personal Capital is that if you do have a decent amount of money, over $100,000, and you sign up, you're gonna have somebody from their company contact you to see if you wanna work with one of their financial advisors. Now, I get contacted by them, I think once every quarter. It's a number that I never pick up because I recognize it's a San Francisco number. I don't answer. The few times I did answer, we just talked up and I say, hey, listen, I'm a financial advisor. I really don't need help from you because you're a financial advisor. So that is one little thing that will happen if you sign up. But for what the app offers and the fact that it's free, it is worth getting that one annoying phone call once a quarter. I mean, I get tons of marketing calls anyway on my cell phone, which is annoying. That's a whole other video topic. But anyway, just be aware of that. All right, so that is my 4 15-minute financial fixes, and I'm pretty sure that you can knock all of those out in less than an hour, less than 60 minutes. But I probably missed one. I want to know, what is your 15-minute financial fix? What is one thing that you were able to implement in your financial life that had a dramatic impact that took you less than 15 minutes to implement? Let me know, let the others know in the comments below so that we can all benefit. I appreciate you, I appreciate you checking out this video. If you have not yet, please subscribe. We've got more videos coming. I'm actually recording some right now. This is called batch recording. Enjoy it. This is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.